Alright guys, Winter here. I know a few of you were annoyed that my video entitled Ling Bane Tutorial didn't actually include much talking of any kind. It was more to just show off my Ling Bane Ling micro, but that got me thinking, maybe I could talk. Let's try that. So this is GM, just a textbook ZvZ early Ling aggression. I only do Ling Bane aggression when I see my opponent is going for speed at a similar, either quicker or slightly slower timing. If they're going for roaches or they have a wall or something like that, I'm not going in. But I'm already running up. I'm seeing what I can get here. I'm picking off some banelings. I want to trade out these early banelings, so that way I can get in with my first wave of banelings and start getting damage done. You see there, I'm able to trade like 6 lings for a couple banelings, get a morphing bane. I get to see what's going on up the ramp. I see he has a decent chunk of drones, a spine crawler. I'm able to get some connections here. Now let's go back. Let's watch in slower time what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I am a professional video editor. You guys may have noticed. But let's slow it down to 0.25 speed. Now, obviously, all these I'm gonna just go over what I'm doing here. Now you see I'm coming up with the Zerglings. I'm always making more Zerglings. Now we'll start from the very top when I start splitting off the Zerglings. But I come up, I see okay, there's a Baneling. Notice I only have the Ling selected right now. I'm boxing a few. I'm just trying to split little groups here. I want to split little groups, and I'm trying to spread out. And ideally, I'm trying to take out both these Banes so I can get my Banes in, and the first wave does a lot of damage. Now, the queen, I see how many queens there are. I'm looking here. We're just going to watch the whole thing in 0.25 speed, which is, well, obviously 0.25 speed. But I'm trading 4 lings for a bane. It's not a huge deal to me because I'm flooding a lot of lings across. This is not low economy. I'm looking at 40 or so drones right now. Maybe like 37 drones total. 36 drones or more is still, you're going to be able to produce Zerglings and eventually get a third. But I'm making all these banes because I want to just overpower him. I see the spine crawlers coming in. I mean, I would speed it up right now, but I'm already looking to tell. You saw right there, I had my banelings hotkeyed, and I rallied them into the mineral line, which means I don't have to control them again, and they'll just run by everything, because I don't want my banelings just connecting on whatever. I want to be able to control my banelings, but not until we get into the fight. That way I don't have to move my camera again when we're actually getting into the micro. Notice I actually mess up there, and now I'm selecting 2. But I'm splitting off. I'm trying to get some detonations. I want to get some on the spine crawler, some on the drones. I manually select some more as I've continued having Zerglings run by. This is mostly just to trigger his banelings. Like right there, you see a single Zergling triggers a baneling because he doesn't have the right clicks that I do. This is one of the few situations you want to be right clicking. Notice I'm on top of the injects here. That's very important because otherwise I'm going to have too much money. Alright. On this side of things, well, I've got some more banelings. Once again, I will click them by the spine crawler because I don't want them connecting on just nothing. I'm making more banes at the same time, but these banelings will go do their own thing. Sure, I'll eat a couple kills with the queens. He's positioned them pretty well. But if you watch where his banelings end up, I'm actually able to slip by these queens. Even a single bane can get the damage done. But we're moving up, and notice he can't control everything at once. Big connection coming out there just because he can't handle all these things. Even though I sent 4 banelings in, only one of them connected, that's still worth it. Because he's down to 0 banelings. He has to make more banelings, and we've taken out a lot of the lings, which means my lings can step forward and get damage done. Now, I'm always going back whenever I get a split-second opportunity. I know there he's not going to have banelings for a few seconds, and my banelings aren't quite done yet, so I have nothing to micro quite yet. I look up, I see there are some banelings, but they're kind of far back, so my lings can attack. Notice how I'm not using... I very rarely... Well, I try to avoid having my lings and my banes selected together because they do completely different things. But moving up, his banelings are kind of walled off. I knew he would be walled off by his own lings, so I just A-move my lings, because I know the banelings won't really connect. Now I'm splitting my banelings back at the same time. This is, well, in order to minimize the damage. And you see there, we're obviously able to kill a bunch of lings. He's just very lacking in controlling multiple groups of units. He's got his queens, he's got his lings, he's got his banelings, and you notice they're all just A-moving. A lot of players, even at GM, will do this. They'll just have everything A-moving, and eventually you'll get a few picks on the banelings. It's like picking through mid-doors, where you take out 1 or 2 of the banes, and suddenly you can just kind of split your banelings and run them over. Alright, and I see here, I have no problem with the spine crawler going down as collateral damage to those banelings dying to queens. That's why I sent the banes in. I would not have sent the banes in if I thought they would just die to the queens, but the spine crawler was very vulnerable. So we'll speed it up a little bit. That's the basics of it, is knowing when to be right-clicking past, negating his banelings, and knowing when you can use Zerglings. But I'm able to get a third base here. Oh god, that's really terrible, but we'll go to normal speed. Now he has a wave of Zerglings. I have to sit back. I have to retreat for a little bit. I'm taking a third base because I had the money. He doesn't know when those Banes started. Notice I always make the Banes when he doesn't have Overlord Vision. If he has Overlord Vision, then he knows exactly when the Banes start and kind of time out when he can fight my Zerglings. Now I'm just going to try to minimize this Bane damage. Not very big connections here, and I'm able to negate 3 Banes. It doesn't matter how good the connections are. The only numbers that matter are who has Banes. If I'm able to catch him with no Banes, he can't use superior Zergling numbers. Even if he has more Banelings, if I kill all the Banelings and I still have a couple left over, you see what happens here. That window I have right now, he had to make more Banes, which means I get in, I get damage to his drones, I get damage to more Banelings, and now all his Banelings are gone. I don't have any Banelings, so I can't capitalize, but he can't move out even though he might have another wave of Zerglings here. As soon as he sees Banelings, he has to back off. So I'm able to get the Spawn Crawler. He wants to go for a Spire. I can tell because he had those 2 gases at his net super early. But right now I know he has been making so many Banelings, and I've killed so many drones, that there's no way he's getting Mutas out. So all I have to do is take decent trades. They don't even have to be efficient for me, but anything that I'm trading like 2/3 as heavily as him, because I'm in his face. If you're on the defense in ZvZ, you're probably losing. At least in the early stages of the game, when it comes to Ling Baneling. Defense in Ling Baneling is usually losing if you're on even money defense and offense. So, and I actually have more drones right now, because it's a pretty high economy play. I'm not including the build order here. If you ever watch the stream, you'll know the build order. But it's pretty much basic Ling Bane. I'm getting my gas after my 15 pool finishes. And I make my first queen is when I start my gas, which is a later speed. So I have to get a Baneling nest first if he's rushing out speedlings. But if he goes for speed, I'll eventually have 36 or so drones, and then be able to make waves upon waves of Zerglings. And now you see he's slowly but surely crumbling. Spawn Crawlers aren't really that big a deal, because usually Spawn Crawlers, they're negated by the Banelings pretty quickly. I come in, I'm just looking for another connection on drones. I'm not able to get it, but I see he just doesn't have the Zergling count. If I can get on top of the queens, they'll never regain that energy. I've got a third base coming up. I know he doesn't have a third. I know he wants to go for the Spire. He's just not going to be able to pull it off. Alright. This is the last wave of Banelings I have to deal with. I already realized that here. I'm always just trying to get easy pickoffs here on the Banelings. But I've already kind of broken his back, so I can just continue, just play it safe. Notice he's never able to cross half the map. He always tries to get past the middle of the map, but I never let him because I've got Banelings coming up. I guess it's kind of a tug of war between whether... Yeah, that was a mildly bad trade, but he has no Banelings, I have Banelings. Doesn't matter how many Zerglings he has right now, unless he has godlike micro, which I wouldn't even be confident going up against multiple Banelings in the middle of the map while doing all the other things, so... Yeah, he's not able to get good connections on any of these. I'm able to go into the Spawn Crawler because I know another... Those Banelings had gotten hit. They were in a pretty bad state, but as I said, one more Baneling can make the game. I'm using manual detonation if I know he's running away, or sometimes you don't want to wait for the Baneling to just attack the nearest thing. You want to get all of the Zerglings or something like that, so that's why I use manual detonation a lot. But from here, you see me doing the same things I talked about before, where it's just distracting, splitting up, making sure his Banelings are negated, and trying to get to the point where I have Banelings and he does not. Because as soon as that happens, I've won the game. And we see there, I manually detonate to get the majority of his Banelings. Sure, he has the Baneling, but I'm able to just kill another Spawn Crawler, and now you see he has no Banelings. So eventually, we're just going to run by. I keep making my own because I know his Zergling count is so low, he can't be making Banelings. I'll have another wave of Banelings before he can get him out, but there we go. I'm dancing around with the Baneling, waiting for anything to come out of those eggs because there's a lot of larvae, but that was a pretty straight-up game. So, hopefully that is the more tutorial for you guys on Ling Baneling. The long and short of it, if you will, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out more videos, but see you tomorrow. Or later, or whatever. Just watch more of my videos. What is that? Ugh. Anyways, see ya. Where's the stop thing? Oh, okay.